So it's a recap video of our latest Castles and Crusade session. It's like session 5. The party had agreed to explore some caverns that were discovered underneath their hometown of Arden. This started off with them trekking in through some tunnels that were made by Ankeg and used by the kobolds to infiltrate the town. They got to the water cavern, which was had been located previously, and they knew from there they had to explore further. They fashioned together like a flotilla type, like a raft, out of some kobold bolts, because they knew that they couldn't use them singly because they were too big. So they made the raft. They started down this channel. Partway down the channel, they came across this cavern to the right, to the left, and it was lit up with like phosphorescent mosses and stuff. And what they saw was some kobolds, a bunch of them, fighting some insect-like creatures. These guys here, that's an otherworld miniature, and those insect creatures made quick work of the kobolds. So the party ended up killing those two creatures, and then went ashore to do a little bit of exploration. They found a tunnel in the back of the cavern that led further, and they went in further to explore that, and then it became kind of a honeycomb hive of tunnels that they realized they may be getting in a bit deeper than they were prepared for. So they backed out of there. That was all run Theater of the Mind, not on the board. And then they progressed on to here. So they took their makeshift raft, which was used by this 3D printed, it's actually doors to a gate, but I didn't have another raft. So they come into here, into this cavern, and they spot some kobolds over here, and the kobolds are actually harvesting mushrooms. And they come in, and they were ambushed by 3 kobolds that were on this overpass. Pretty good fight in here. Got a little dicey, thanks to one of the characters, Toucan Sam, who's a gnome rogue illusionist. He cast, I think it was Obscuring Mist or some spell similar to that blocked line of sight, which helped prevent the archers over here from peppering them further with arrows. So they fought about a dozen kobolds here. Pretty close battle. Some of the guys, some of the characters got pretty wounded. But they pushed through with no losses. They have a cleric in the party and a druid for this particular party, so they were able to patch up their wounds and apply some bandages and get ready to rock and roll again, even though the casters were down pretty much on spells. They proceeded up through here, and this tunnel in reality is much longer than it appears on the board, which I explained to them. They got into here. The gnome illusionist and I think it was the ranger, the half-orc ranger, stealthed ahead. Yes, and realized that this cavern was also full of kobolds. And they also saw up here another kobold and a human man. And they were having a conversation and examining this door. So this cavern is a natural formation, but up here they start to see worked stone. There's a couple dragon statues. This is a Reaper Bones miniature with a Hearst Arts cast base that I put together and painted up. And then they saw the doorway up there. So they started with some stealth attacks. Matter of fact, before the gnome come up here by himself initially, and he killed a kobold sentry with a really nice backstab attack. And then they decided that was how they're going to work their way through. That didn't last very long. The gnome, he came in around this way and had to make a bunch of move silently checks, and he failed his last one with a fumble. So he got spotted by a gnome. He did take, kobold, I'm sorry. And I think he killed one of them, and then a bunch more on him pretty quick. So they had a pretty good battle here. Kobolds aren't real tough. They're strength in numbers, so having a lot of attacks come their way was dangerous for the party, and they did take some pretty good shots. The human that was there spoke to the kobold in Draconic, which the gnome overheard and understood, and was basically told him, "You handle this." And then he opened up a portal and teleported out of there. They don't know who he is. So the kobold that he spoke to was wearing heavy robes, and he cast a couple spells. He hit the Lork, the half-orc ranger, with magic missile. And then once he saw more of his numbers fall, he was like, "I'm out." And he shrugged off his robes and started sprinting. And then when he shrugged off his robes, he took flight. Pardon my furnace, it's almost winter in Maine. And he took flight, and they saw this guy, which they were all like, "Holy crap, what is that?" And it's a a winged kobold. So he flew and dove down this section right here, which is a tunnel that goes down for about 200 feet and beyond, and got away. They tried to stop him, but they weren't successful in doing that. When the battle was finished, the gnome actually set a trap here, so if anything came up, there'd be a tripwire and a little rock slide, maybe to prevent anything from coming back up on them. They examined this entrance, and they found it to be I basically described it as if anyone's played Skyrim, the doors in Skyrim, you put the claw in there and you unlock the door. But this one had a big dragon relief on it. And the dwarves in the party, there's two of them, they know from their histories that one time this land that we're playing in my homebrew setting was ruled by the Aldani Empire. And the Aldani Empire were worshippers of dragons, and they were also slavers. So they had enslaved the dwarves to build dragon tombs, and the dragon tombs is where they interred their dragons when they fell. So that left a possibility open for them for future adventure down the road. Maybe if they can find the key to that door, they can see what's in the tomb beyond. Some of the party wanted to try to get in. Probably wouldn't have worked, and then others had a little bit more common sense, and they were like, if they're putting dragons in there, we probably don't need to go in there right now. So they wisely departed back for town after this. They did a real good job. It was a good session, lasted several hours, and at the end of it, because they're given different hooks, at the end of each session, they've decided that their next hook is actually they're going to be above ground, and they're going to deal with some goblins that are coming from the west, the Crawling Claw tribe. So a couple of the adventurers, a few of them in this party had encounters with them in recent sessions. So they're going to deal with them next. So we'll see what happens with this tunnel and the dragon tomb down the road. But that was our latest session. Thanks for watching.